The envelope was thick and heavy, made of fancy cream-colored paper. It looked very expensive, the kind of paper you might see in a big office or a fancy store. My sister Calixtra handed one to everyone at my 32nd birthday dinner. She gave them out like party favors, with a little bow of her head and a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. There were 12 people at the table, my mom and dad, my aunts and uncles, and my cousins. We were at a nice Italian restaurant downtown, the one with white tablecloths, shiny silverware, and lights that made the wine glasses sparkle. The kind of place where you pause before ordering wine because you know it might cost more than your whole meal. Open them together, Calixtra said, her smile sharp and practiced. It was the kind of smile you wear when you want everyone to think you're in charge, even if you're nervous inside. She wore her navy blue real estate blazer with shiny gold buttons. That blazer was like her armor. It made her look professional, confident, like someone who could sell a house to anyone. I watched my parents open their envelopes first. Mom gasped. Her hand flew to her mouth. Dad's eyebrows shot up high, like they had jumped off his face. Then my aunts, uncles, and cousins opened theirs, all at the same time. Their expressions moved together, like a wave of surprise rolling across the table. Inside each envelope was a check for $200,000. What is this? Mom asked, her voice shaking a little. It sounded like a mix of confusion and excitement, like she couldn't believe what she was seeing. Calixtra raised her glass. I closed the deal on Avron's rental properties, she said. All 6 of them. Total value, $4.2 million. You've been struggling with them for years. I handled everything quietly and professionally. These checks are your money, shared with the family who supported you. The table erupted. Aunt Isolde hugged Calixtra so hard she almost knocked over her wine glass. Uncle Rourke shook her hand like he was trying to break it, but in a happy way. My cousin Mailer was already on his phone, probably checking out boats or vacation plans. Mom whispered to Dad, "The Hawaii condo is finally happening," her eyes sparkling, holding his arm tightly. I stayed very still. My fork rested against my untouched pasta. A small pool of olive oil spread slowly across the plate, almost like it was worrying me, waiting. "Calixtra," I said quietly, "what properties?" Calixtra laughed, that professional, practiced laugh, the kind real estate people use to make everything seem fine and easy. "Your 6 rental units," she said. "The ones you've been complaining about for the past 4 years. The broken pipes, the leaky roofs, the difficult tenants. I handled it quietly for you. You didn't have to worry." The table went quiet. Everyone's eyes turned to me. I said slowly, "I own 8 properties, not 6. And I've never complained about them." Calixtra's smile faltered for a moment. Just a tiny flicker, like a candle in the wind. "You're confused," she said quickly. "The stress has been, you know." I stayed calm. My voice was steady, like I was reading from a list, even though my heart was pounding. "I own 3 fourplexes in Riverside, 2 duplexes in Henderson, 2 single-family homes in Boulder City, and 1 commercial property downtown with a coffee shop and a yoga studio. That's 31 rental units in total. 31 tenants who pay me directly, every single month on time." Uncle Rourke put down his check slowly. "Wait," he said. "If you own 8 properties, how did Calixtra sell 6 of them?" "She didn't sell anything," I said. "She has no access to my properties. She is not on the titles. She has no legal power over them. She can't sell what isn't hers." Calixtra's face went pale, like she had seen a ghost. "Avron, you're not thinking clearly," she said. "Maybe it's the birthday, the wine, the excitement." I pulled out my phone and opened my property management app. I turned the screen toward the table. December rent collected, $43,750. November, $43,750. October, $43,750. Every month for the past 6 years, since I bought my first fourplex at 26. All real, all deposited into my business account this morning. The table was silent. No one spoke. The restaurant seemed to shrink, the lights brighter, the air heavier. Dad asked slowly, "Calixtra, where did these checks come from?" Her hands shook. A small tremor ran through her fingers. "I worked with a private buyer. It was a cash deal. Quick close." "I have the paperwork," she said. "Show me," I said. "Show me the closing documents, the title, anything with my signature." Her jaw tightened. That little tell from childhood when she was about to be caught lying. It was back. "It's all in my office," she said. "I'll bring it Rorquero." Suddenly Aunt Isolde held her check up to the light. "These are fake," she said sharply. "I work at a credit union. The watermark is wrong." These aren't real cashier's checks. The table erupted again. But this time it was panic, not happiness. I already deposited mine. Mailer shouted, looking at his phone. Oh God, Mom whispered, clutching Dad's arm. We called the travel agent. We paid $15,000 for the Hawaii package. I paid off my car, Uncle Rourke, $38,000. Calixtra started to back away, panic on her face. There's been a misunderstanding, she said. Stop, I said sharply. My voice echoed louder than I meant it to. The restaurant felt too small and too hot. The smell of truffle oil made me feel queasy. I need everyone to understand something, I said. I started buying rental properties 6 years ago. My first fourplex needed $60,000 down payment. That's a lot of money I saved working 2 jobs through my 20s. I bought another at 27, 2 more at 28, and so on. I built this portfolio myself, property by property, tenant by tenant. Why didn't I tell you? Because every time I tried, you said I was being irresponsible, risky. You told me to get a real job with benefits. I looked at Calixtra. Every time I tried to talk about my properties, you changed the subject. You made yourself the expert and made me seem small, like I was struggling. You got all the praise while I quietly built a $6.8 million portfolio in secret. I stayed calm, even though my chest was cold and tight. Every maintenance issue is handled. Every tenant screened. Every rent collected on time. But at family events, I was still figuring it out, while Calixtra got praised for closing million-dollar deals for other people. I felt invisible. Dismissed. Like nothing I did mattered. Every time I mentioned buying another property, Calixtra would say, "That's nice," and spend 40 minutes talking about her new BMW. Time passed slowly at the table. My words were careful, but they carried the weight of years of feeling ignored. I thought if I proved myself, if my occupancy rate stayed above 95%, if tenants were happy, if my properties grew in value, you'd finally see me as successful. But you didn't want to see it. You didn't want to admit you were wrong. I said louder so everyone could hear. The properties are real. Very real. And in about 6 days, tenants are going to have questions because Calixtra sent them fake letters saying I sold the properties. She told them a stranger was raising their rent. Calixtra's face told the truth before her words did. You committed fraud, I said, my voice cold. You pretended to own my properties. You gave out fake checks. You collected money under false pretenses. Mailer's phone rang. Then Aunt Isolde's. Then Uncle Rourke's. Then Mom's. One by one, their banks called. The checks were fake. Completely fake. I asked Calixtra, "How much did you collect? Just family or other people too?" "I gave out 18 checks," she whispered. "Family, some friends, a few business associates. I told them I was handling your estate because you were overwhelmed." "That's $3.6 million in fake checks," Uncle Rourke said, quickly calculating. Calixtra admitted, "I thought if I caused enough problems, if tenants got worried, if complaints piled up, you'd have to sell to me at a discount. I wanted to force a sale." Her plan was cruel, almost smart in a mean way. Sabotage disguised as help. Chaos presented as salvation. The restaurant felt quiet now, like we were the only people in the world. Everyone was staring at Calixtra. Her eyes were wide, her hands shaking. The confident sister, the expert in real estate, was small and scared, like a child caught in a lie she couldn't fix. I took a deep breath. "You thought you could trick everyone. Make me look like I was failing. Make everyone think I needed help. Make people pay you money that wasn't yours." But it didn't work. The air was heavy. Mom and Dad looked like they didn't know whether to be angry or scared. Aunt Isolde's face was pale. Uncle Rourke kept looking at his calculator on his phone. Mailer's mouth hung open. Calixtra finally said in a tiny voice, I didn't mean to hurt anyone. I thought I was helping." I shook my head slowly. "Helping? You almost ruined people's lives. You lied. You made people believe they had lost $3.6 million. You scared our family. You broke the law. That is not helping. That is sabotage." Calixtra's shoulders sank. The table was silent except for the quiet buzz of other diners, probably wondering what was happening at our table. "I've worked 6 years to build my properties. Every single one. Every tenant, every repair, every rent payment. And you tried to take it away from me with lies," I said. She didn't answer. She couldn't. "Do you understand what you've done?" I asked. Calixtra looked down at the table. "Yes," she whispered. I took a step back, letting the words sink in for everyone else. "You wanted me to fail so you could look successful. But it didn't work. I own my properties. I am in charge of my tenants. And the money. It's real. All of it. Not fake. All mine. The restaurant stayed quiet. Everyone was staring. Some of them had tears in their eyes, some were shaking. The weight of what Calixtra had tried to do had finally landed on everyone. I sat down finally. My pasta was still untouched. The olive oil puddle had spread a little more. But I didn't care. For the first time I felt seen. Not by strangers, not by anyone else, but by my family. They couldn't ignore me now. Calixtra sat across from me, small and defeated. She had lost the control she always tried to show. The professional, confident sister had vanished. She had tried to rewrite my story, to make herself the hero and me the failure. But it didn't work. I was the owner of my life, my properties, my success. The rest of the dinner passed in a quiet, heavy haze. People whispered to each other, trying to figure out what to do next with the bounced checks and fake letters. But I didn't argue with anyone. I didn't need to. The truth had spoken for itself. And for the first time in years, I felt proud. Not just proud of my properties or my tenants, but proud of standing up to the person who tried to erase my achievements. Proud that I had not only built my own success but protected it. Calixtra would have to face the consequences of her actions. And I would continue to grow, property by property, tenant by tenant, with honesty and patience. That was my way, and no one could take it from me. She tried to break my portfolio so she could jump in later, pretend to save it, and make money from my work. She did not want to help me. She wanted to win by making me lose. Mom asked, but why did she use fake checks? Calixtra answered, because fake checks make things feel real. If people believed the buildings were sold, and they spend the money, then Avron would be forced to make the sale real. She would have to sell her buildings to cover what I promised them. It was like a big trick. It was like stacking cards into a tall tower. I was at the very bottom of the tower. All the weight sat on me. Calixtra built the tower using my buildings. She used my hard work. She used my name. She used my renters. She never thought about what would happen if I pulled the tower apart. Or maybe she did think about it. Maybe she thought I would feel ashamed. Maybe she thought I would hate fighting. Maybe she thought I would want peace in the family more than fairness. Maybe she thought I would be too scared to speak up. She thought I would quietly fix the mess. She thought I would lose money and smile. She thought I would sell my buildings and say nothing. She thought I would sacrifice everything just to keep everyone comfortable. She was very wrong. Once I asked the justice system for help, it worked very fast. Day 1. On the first day, I called my lawyer. Her name was Saren Vey. She helped people when bad things happened with houses and buildings. We talked for a long time. We worked for 4 hours without stopping. We gathered papers. We collected proof. We organized property papers that showed the buildings belonged to me. We collected renter agreements. We gathered rent payment records. We printed bank statements. We saved the fake letters Calixtra sent to my renters. We checked everything carefully. We saved copies in 3 different online places. That way, nothing could be lost or erased. Day 2. On the second day, Saren sent letters to all 18 people who received fake checks. The letters explained everything. They explained that the checks were not real. They explained that I was not selling my buildings. They explained that Calixtra had no permission. Most people felt relieved. They did not want to hurt me. They did not want to take money that was not real. 3 people had already spent the money. One of them was Mailer. They felt worried. They had to make plans to pay the money back. Day 3. On the third day, I wrote letters to all 31 renters. I said I was sorry for the confusion. I said I was sorry they were scared. I told them clearly that nothing was changing. Their rent stayed the same. Their homes were safe. I was still their landlord. I explained that Calixtra had no right to talk to them. I asked them to ignore anything she said. Most renters replied very quickly. 28 renters sent messages of support. They told me they trusted me. They told me they were glad I explained everything. 3 renters were very upset. Calixtra scared them by talking about rent increases. They felt unsafe. They asked if they could leave early. I said yes. I removed their notice rules. I wanted to make it right. Day 4. On the 4th day, Saren sent Calixtra a strong letter. The letter said, stop lying. Stop pretending to own what is not yours. Return any money you took. Pay for the damage you caused. Calixtra had 72 hours to answer. Day 5. On the 5th day, Calixtra's lawyer replied. They said Calixtra did nothing wrong. They said it was a misunderstanding. They offered $50,000 if I dropped everything. I said no. Day 6. On the 6th day, Saren filed a lawsuit. The lawsuit said Calixtra committed fraud. It said she hurt my business. It said she caused emotional pain. The amount was $850,000. That number was chosen carefully. It was high enough to matter. It was fair enough to collect. Day 7. On the 7th day, something surprising happened. The renters showed up. They did not come to my house. They went to Calixtra's house. All 31 renters came. Some came alone. Some came with partners. One family brought their children. They talked online together. They shared my apology letters. They realized the same person lied to all of them. They did not shout. They did not break anything. They did not threaten anyone. They stood on the lawn. They rang the doorbell. They asked questions. Who are you? Why did you say you owned our homes? Why did you scare us? What gave you the right? Calixtra called the police. The police arrived. They listened. They read the papers. They saw my apology letters. They saw Calixtra's fake ownership claims. They saw the dates and messages. The police told the renters they had to leave the property. But they also told Calixtra something important. They said she should talk to her lawyer. They said she might be in serious trouble. Before the renters left, an elderly woman spoke loudly. Her name was Mrs. Vey. She had lived in one of my buildings for 5 years. She said, I thought a kind person owned our building. Someone fair. Someone who fixed things fast. Learning it was Averin makes sense. You do not look kind. Neighbors heard her. Calixtra hired 3 lawyers. She spent $75,000 before the trial even began. The case lasted 8 months. During the search for truth, we found proof. Emails showed Calixtra planned this for over a year. She studied property laws. She read my renter agreements. She researched how to transfer buildings. She contacted renters pretending to be someone else. Her lies fell apart. The case ended in a settlement. Calixtra agreed to pay $425,000. Insurance paid $100,000. Calixtra paid the rest over 5 years. Money was taken directly from her wages. Her real estate license was taken away for 3 years. Her company stopped working with her. Family consequences. The family changed forever. At first, my parents tried to keep peace. They said, she made a mistake. They said, she is still your sister. That stopped when they had to repay $15,000. They booked a vacation using a fake check. Then they said, how could she do this? Uncle Rourke sent me a letter. He apologized. He sent $5,000 to help with stress. I framed the letter. Mailer moved away. He stopped coming to family events. He was still paying for a boat bought with fake money. Aunt Isolde believed in me. She started sending renters my way. She told people I was fair and honest. Calixtra stopped coming to family gatherings. When she did come, she left early. We did not speak. Moving forward, 2 years later, I bought my 9th building. It had 12 homes inside. I now own 43 rental homes. The value was $9.2 million. Each month, the buildings earned $58,400. I held a small celebration. My parents came. Uncle Rourke came. Aunt Isolde came. Mrs. Vey came too. Mom pulled me aside. She said, we did not understand what you built. We thought landlords were bad people. We did not ask questions. We did not listen. I said, you believed the story that felt easiest. Mom said she was sorry. I accepted her apology. But I remembered the lesson. People change stories to feel safe. People shrink others' success. People believe lies that match their beliefs. I learned something important. I do not need permission to succeed. I do not need approval. I do not need validation. I built something real. 43 families have homes because of me. Repairs are done quickly. Money is handled correctly. I answer the phone. Calixtra tried to steal that. She failed. My company grew. We hired 5 workers. We now manage buildings for other owners. The company earns $180,000 a year. Mrs. Vey sent me a card. She thanked me for giving her stability. I keep the card on my desk. Calixtra wanted my buildings. Instead, she showed me how strong they were. Some people still cannot see my success. But my renters can. That is all the proof I need. The account is closed. The debt is paid.